Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Let me try to unmute. There you go. No, maybe. Think we're unmuted here. Hope everybody can hear both of us. We had. Has she responded from you?
No.
We had a missing hashtag at missing girl's name as a part of a. Someone that had just was on our live stream just as we came on. If I can go back up, Allegra Martinez or Martinez. I don't know, but anyway, if she is still on here and wants to come on, I sure would love to send her a link. She posted prior to us coming on, about 10 minutes prior to us coming on. So maybe
was missing.
Somebody's missing. I did go to Charlie Project in a hurry there and picked up where that isn't a missing person. If we get to it, if she wants to come on, I'd love to have her on. But if not, we'll try to get to her Friday, if nothing else.
We've been unable to get a hold of the...
the girl, that woman that had the...
missing either friend or sister.
Yeah, it's Sarah...
Kinslow.
And we're going to discuss that one tonight, regardless of she's been on here or not. It was reported at first as a runaway, and there's some evidence that she may have ran away. So we don't know if she's totally missing on her own, or if she got kidnapped after she ran away, or something dealt her some bad cards. So let's see what we got here. I wish that the lady would come on and be on. That would be awesome if she would. Just a matter of us sending a link to you. That's all it amounts to. We'll, of course, bring up that Susan Morphew is still missing. And that is a picture of her, as you know. And I think after our broadcast, Dusty Draper plans to have a show on about the similarities in the Morphew case and the Peterson case, I think it is. I was a little disappointed in the fact that the interview room the other night, he was supposed to have Barry on, and I think he had about 2-minute conversation with Barry, and I was a little disappointed in that myself. I don't know if maybe you weren't, but I was. I didn't feel like it was quite what it was made out to be.
Well, maybe Barry didn't want it to be.
He didn't want it to, but I mean, it was the way they advertised the interview. I thought it was going to be a whole interview, and it wasn't. It was just it was a little bit the letdown for me. These, of course, are the two boys from California City that are still missing. It's a strange coincidence that we featured this case and said polygraphs and other developments. We had 12,000 views on that one video, 12,000. Last night, we featured the number one theory that I was getting on these missing persons cases, and we got about 1,500. So it's just the way it is. When you get a lot of views like there, though, it does help get the message out there. So anyway. I even received this little thing from YouTube saying, hey, your viewers went up exponentially. Okay, we're going to talk about this girl tonight. It's Sarah Kinslow, 14 years old, disappeared on May the 1st, 2001. I'm about to yawn for some reason. After being dropped off by her father at Greenville Middle School, this is in Texas, which she attended at that time, she disappeared and has not been reported. Disappeared and has been reported during the years as both local and national media outlets, but Winslow has never been located. And not that she just disappeared. She was seen getting into a pickup truck with a guy brown hair, thought to be in her the guy's thought to be in his 30s with a thin mustache. And then the people said that, hey, she didn't appear to be upset at all when she was picked up. So obviously they think she ran away or is with someone else, another male. So, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. But appears to be she might have left by her own free will. And we are not sure, even though it's 2011, that's 20 years ago, is not sure that she may be living with someone in a runaway type state, or she might have met somebody and got kidnapped after she ran away with this other person. You remember several years ago when all of these these kids were running off with these older men. I mean, the one in the picture in the top left hand is what picture of how she looked when she disappeared. And this is the age progression picture from 2001. So she's a very beautiful girl, but 26 years old, basically, she'd be 30. So it's, she could be living with a older guy out there, she could have been something bad could have happened to her. Greenville, Texas, reported to have several ear piercings, both in the ears, chickenpox scars on her cheek, and may have a tattoo of the letter I on her inside of her ankle. Her two front teeth overlap. Sarah has last seen wearing a teal hood jacket, blue jeans, gray and blue sneakers, a silver necklace with the word rock on it, and a Minnie Mouse watch. So that's even kind of I don't know, it's kind of odd, she's just kind of odd, Minnie Mouse watch.
Not for a 14-year-old.
No, I don't guess so.
For a 30-year-old, maybe. Unless it was somebody we know.
14-year-old having a bunch of piercings in their ears and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Shows how much, but would she have a tattoo of an eye on the inside of her ankle at 14?
Well, it maybe wasn't a tattoo. Maybe it was something else.
Oh, they said tattoo.
May have a tattoo.
Of the letter I. Anyone seeing this, contact the Greenville Police Department, Texas, and it gives a number. All right, the Charlie Project. Of course, we follow the Charlie Project quite a bit. Now, there's some young-looking pictures here on the Charlie Project that look like a 14-year-old, and then there's some that are a lot older. Endangered runaway. It gives the clothing description. It also distinguished characteristics is a Caucasian female, white female, blonde hair, blue eyes. Sarah has a tattoo of the letter I on the inside of her ankle. And, that's two people right there that said the tattoo at 14. So,
Mama must have known she got it, or Daddy.
Yeah, or that might have been a homemade tattoo.
Could be.
Sarah was last seen, of course, as we said, dropped off here at Greenville Middle School in Texas, disappeared. Her friends and her had planned to meet at a local cemetery after skipping school, but she never showed up with her friends. And in fact, never had been heard from again. Police dogs traced her scent 2 blocks from the school, but after the trail, that's where the trail ended, which would tell me she got in a car, some vehicle. A witness claims that saw Sarah inside an older model light blue pickup truck at 3:30 p.m. on the afternoon of her disappearance. The truck was near Sarah's school and driven by a white male in his 30s. The man had dark hair and a pencil mustache, a real thin mustache. Sarah does not appear to be upset, not trying to get out of the truck. Another witness says Sarah had been seen was seen at a phone booth in Caddo Mills, Texas, after her disappearance. A week after her disappearance, her 18-year-old boyfriend, Curtis Wayne Bell, was arrested and charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child. While investigating Sarah's disappearance, police discovered that she had been sexually involved with Bell. It was apparently consensual, but Sarah was not of legal age. We get back to that. Sarah's parents did not allow her to date, but they knew of her relationship with Bell. Now, I'm thinking they probably didn't know of her sexual relationship, but who knows? He lives in Quentin, Texas, and was one of the friends who was supposed to skip school with Sarah on that day of her disappearance. Sarah has been dating Bell for 2 months prior to her disappearance. She wanted to marry him, wrote in her diary that she and Bell were going to run away to Mexico if her parents did not allow them to get together. Bell admits that he and Sarah discussed running away, but says they were not being serious. Sarah did not take any of her clothes, her toothbrush, her purse when she went with missing. Police nevertheless believe that she left on her own accord. Several of her friends failed polygraph tests in connection with her disappearance. Bell and all of her friends, Sarah's friends, other friends, disclaim any knowledge of her whereabouts. Well, if they flunked the polygraph test, that pretty much tells me, if all of them did it, tells me that they probably know where she's at, or know where she was anyway.
Where she was going.
Where she was going. Sarah's possibly seen in Tualatin, Beaverton, Tigard, or Portland areas of Oregon, and in early 2004 may have been sighted in Surrey, British Columbia in late 2004. She reported to have cut her hair short, dyed it brown. Her case is unsolved and is still classified as a runaway. Even though she is classified as a runaway, a lot of people won't even report runaways as missing people. I mean, they think, she's a runaway, she'd probably come back. They don't take it serious, but we all know that runaways can get caught up in sometimes into human trafficking. Especially if they are develop, they lose their way, or whoever they were staying with before kicked them out, or don't want to get in trouble with the police, or maybe they had a boyfriend that they were dating, but now he's left them on the side of the road somewhere, or maybe she, whatever the reason is, they get caught up in the human trafficking. Now, her mother was supposed to be here tonight with us to tell her story. It would have been. I
don't know if it was her mother.
It might have been her mother, sister, friend, cousin, grandmother, somebody connected with the investigation was supposed to be here with us tonight to tell us the updates, to give us kind of the inside story. But we have failed to have. We tried to contact them, and we didn't get an answer, and that is the problem sometimes on here. And I think the Draper brothers went through that same thing with that girl that was missing herself. She ran away from the airport. So if we manage to reestablish contact and they want to come on and tell us what they know now, and maybe any information they received, or point us in the right direction to the group, or to put the name back out there again, we'll do it again. We'll go and we will tell her story again, and maybe have the chance for y'all to ask some questions. And I think that if we could have had her on here, then it would have been a lot better for us to tell maybe some if anybody's seen her, or if they heard any word, or maybe figure out why she left in the first place. You know, maybe because that her parents didn't want her to see a boy, or maybe they were having issues with her at home, or whatever. We don't blame the parents because we don't know the circumstances. We don't blame anybody but her. She left on her own, and we would like to know where. First off, just like to know she's safe. If you are hearing this, Sarah, if you're listening tonight, you see your name on the computer and you see us talking about you, just let us know you're safe. Email us there at the Missing Livestream, gmail.com. Let me know you're safe, and give me something I can tell your parents that they'll know it's you, or, you know, not just some crank troll out here. Let me know you're safe. Tell us you're safe. And if you could tell me something then that your parents would only know, then you know, I will be glad to relay that information, because I'm sure they're wondering if you're safe. Does anybody have anything on this? And I'm going to move over to this other one that they left a message, the first message tonight. Let me discuss something else, though. We received an email, and it's a pretty good email. I mean, it's somebody had a pretty good idea. Maybe. We're going to ask y'all. We're going to ask you. I tell you what. I'm also going to put it up in our community page and let you vote. I find out it's a good thing. Let them vote. Let whoever vote comment.
Okay, no write-in voting.
Huh? Oh, that's so funny. Somebody, and I'm not going to mention their name because I don't know if they want us to mention their name, but it's a loyal follower of the channel. We appreciate them giving us their opinion. But they thought maybe one day a week that I would turn the mic over to Medina, and she would discuss and feature people on the Doe Network. And if you don't know and also through NamUs also, if you don't know what the Doe Network is, or NamUs is, NamUs first is a civilian access. You can access it as a civilian if you register, but normally it's law enforcement access it. They have much more access to NamUs than the normal civilian does. But it's a list of all the missing people in the United States and all the unidentified bodies that have turned up that they put on NamUs. And the Doe Network is actually unidentified people and sometimes they have pictures of them, they have drawings of them, of their face. Sometimes they have casts of them. And it would be a way for Medina to feature maybe one or two of these people a week, in hopes of bringing closure to the families, finding out maybe who these people are. Now, what they do is, and NamUs especially, and also Doe Network, they will try to get law enforcement to basically see if there is any people that are missing that turns up to be these people. Now, on NamUs, you can actually go and look up. You might put a missing person in there, and then they'll show, if you go over to, there's a section, you press a button, and they'll tell you if they've checked so many people that they found, unidentified bodies they found, against that missing person's DNA or possibly any other thing they have to identify them, and they've been ruled out. And I will school Dina in a little bit of how NamUs works. And we will explore how the Doe Network. If I got to go to school, forget it. Especially if you're the teacher. But I will give her some ideas on what to do, what I would do, and then she would basically run the show for maybe on a Wednesday night, and that would allow me to have a little bit extra time to pursue getting our cases up for Friday as kind of the end of the week. And the fact is, we're going to be doing a whole lot of other things too in a couple of months. So It's just an idea. If you think that would be a good idea, we can try it for a while. We're going to vote on it first. Get your opinion of it first. If you don't think it's a good idea, tell us you don't think it's a good idea. And
they said, why can't you both do it? And Sketty said, is DNA dope? It's DNA dope project, right?
Well, let me go back over here. Well, the one website that I'm referring but there's a lot of them. A lot of them try DNA.
No volume, no sound. You did something.
Okay, well, it shows I got volume. Shows I got volume. Am you not hearing me? I think they're hearing me. I'm hearing me. You are back. Okay. The Doe Network actually, it's called the Doe Network, and but there's a lot of different ones. They use DNA, they use fingerprints, they use a lot of stuff to try to locate the person's, the missing person's family. So that might be something that you can do. It would help me out if I do not have to be on here, because there's some other things that are coming up that I'm going to be very busy with, and
not so busy you can't do the show.
No, not so busy I can't do the show. What I'm saying is, if you do 1 day a week and I do 2 days a week, along with this other thing,
3 days a week.
That right now is what we are on 3 days a week. And then I'm actually doing another project, a side project. Then it won't really be a side project. It'll be a pretty big project. Then it will take.
I told you that midget wrestling is not for you.
Editing and all kinds of other stuff that we are putting this together.
We have midget wrestling in our town, and he wants to go midget wrestling.
No, I do not. I do not want to midget wrestle. That's crazy.
We do have midget wrestling in our town. We do
have midget wrestling in our town, but I do not midget wrestle. I get whooped. But what'd they say? No,
I'm just laughing because you said you'd get whooped.
I would. The midgets, man, they don't play. But it might be a good thing if we could try it for a couple of weeks and see how she does. And
you can kick me off.
Huh?
You can kick me off.
And then if it don't go that good, well, we'll kick her off. How about that?
Now just boot me out the door.
Boot you out the door.
I'm gonna take my pots and pans with me. Then what you gonna do?
Yeah, I'll go down and get that pot to pee in. You know what she did? She bought me a pot to pee in, so I could never say I don't have a pot to pee in. It's an actual thing they used to put underneath the beds, the old pot to pee in.
Well, yeah, because you were always saying, I ain't got a pot to pee in. I have to sell something to buy something. So I bought him a pot to pee in.
She won't let me get rid of it either.
No, you have to take it.
I always could say at least I have a pot to pee in. But anyway, we are we'll let Dina try that if the vote comes up positive.
Helen said, what if Medina's better? Then we'll kick him out the door, but he won't take no pots except his pot to pee in. No, I'm kidding. He knows what he's talking about big time, y'all.
But
so I just pop in and help.
But we are going to do something else too, and we got something I've been hinting to it a lot lately, and I think next month is probably when we're going to break it out. So when we will, Yeah, maybe she can share some recipes too at the end of it. But we will be sharing some very exciting news at where our life has taken us and some things that we've got going on.
And we're not pregnant
next month. Oh my God, no.
We are not pregnant.
No, and we're not adopting another child.
Although I would, but he won't let me
because we're too old.
We're not too old.
But we also have some great stuff. If you really would like to know more about us personally, this will probably do it for you. But anyway, but anyway,
but you won't let me tell mole jokes.
No, we're not telling mole jokes.
I'm gonna tell it when it's my show. I'm gonna tell it.
Well, you can do it at your show. You want to.
I like my mole joke.
No, it's not. It's not nice.
It is not.
No,
bad.
It's not a nice joke.
I can't help it if you go down that hole.
Don't go there. Okay. Okay. Well.
Always missionary work.
Yeah. Always.
Everywhere you go, there's missionary work to do.
Yeah, that won't be. It will not be. That's not actually what we're talking about. But we always serve. We always try to serve the best we can. Anyway. Yeah, the fur babies are keeping us busy. I've got just a little short video to attach tonight before I took the outro. And we are only going to be on here about an hour tonight because Dusty's comes up in an hour and I think they're discussing something pretty interesting tonight. So we will keep it short. So due to the fact that this lady came on earlier and she did put this out there, I'm going to cover it. And I'll make an open invitation to her if she watches this to come on and tell us more about it. This is a missing person case. This is Jennifer. Is that Sophia Martellez? Is that right? Martellez? Disappeared 1982 from Tampa, Florida. 7 years old. It's great for them to put with the clothes she was wearing, but really it doesn't have any input right now, so I'm not going to waste time saying that, other than maybe she had a tattoo or something. Hispanic female, black hair, brown eyes. Jennifer has moles and beauty marks on her upper part of her cheek. Or no, her chest. I can't read that. On the right side of her nose, near her eye, and on her collarbone. She has a mold on the back of her right thigh. Her ears are pierced. She has a cleft in her chin. Her upper front teeth are large, crooked, and chipped. Jennifer's nickname is Firecracker. She is a Cuban, Lebanese, Italian descent. She walks pigeon-toed, and her shoulder is lower than the other. And now I noticed they do have a man or boy's picture at the bottom of this thing, and I hope we get to why his picture is there in a few minutes. Now her mother, cousin, something with the same last name, was just on here at the first of our broadcast. I'm going to make another appeal. If you are in the audience here, I'll send you a link and we can talk about her tonight or we can talk about her Friday night. You just tell me if you're out there. The
email that I got that started us down that path of thinking about doing a program about one day a week about people that have been located, but they don't know who they are. It was about a 5 to 10-year-old little girl found in Oregon in the woods. And no one has reported her missing. She's 5 to 10 years old and there's no one looking for her, but there has to be grandparents, aunts, uncles. There has to be neighbors. Somebody has seen this child in the.
Looks like they would do a backwards DNA check, but I know
They
that
are
takes time.
they are doing that.
Yeah.
But it takes time, and so.
All right, let me finish this up here.
I'm
Jennifer
sorry.
has last seen walking home from school at 7. She was 1 block from her family's residence on 15th Street and 109th Avenue in Tampa. November 1982 at approximately 3 p.m. Jennifer asked a friend to watch her as she continued to her house. And her friend turned away for a moment and Jennifer was gone and never seen again. Now that's horrible right there. Jennifer's parents were divorced in 1982 and she lived with her father and stepmother, but her mother had legal custody. Now, I don't know what that is about. Jennifer did not get along with her stepmother, and members of her mother's family had contemplated removing the child from her father's home. Both sides of the family accused one another of hiding Jennifer after the disappearance. Eventually, all the relatives were ruled out as suspects in her case. Authorities suspected that Thomas Peter Welnick, a family friend of Jennifer with an extensive criminal history for charges ranging from theft, drugs possession, to minor assaults, was involved in her case. A photograph of Welnick posted with the case summary, and I guess that's on the other guy on the other side that I'll show you again in a few minutes. When questioned by police, he claimed to have a psychic vision of Jennifer's abduction and murder. That's a red flag to me. He said she was abducted and strangled by 2 men. One of them, he said, was in his 40s, had a criminal history. The other was a blonde man in his mid-20s whom Jennifer knew and trusted, and whose conscience troubled him deeply after the child's death. And whose child? Whitnick himself matches the description of the blonde man. What a moron. Authorities believe Whitnick's vision was actually a confession, but he dismissed this. He denies this. He failed a polygraph about Jennifer's case, but may have been his case, but this may have been because he was taking medication to prevent seizures. Welnick, he has never been charged in the connection with the Jennifer's case. At the time of her disappearance, Jennifer was a 2nd grade student at Leslie C. Shaw Elementary School, which was 1 mile from her home. She was a good student, well behaved. Her presumed abduction remains unsolved. Her mother self-published book about 2011 titled Jennifer, Where Are You? And that, I think that very well could have been her mother on here earlier. I sure would love to have her on and let her tell us any clues that we could. I mean, you think about this. She's been missing since 1982.
That is 37 years. 38.
Mm,
Mindy was born in 82.
Yes, 38 years. That's sad, very sad. And if you look at the picture, the bottom one, I wish I'd have blown this up now. He looks like the blonde-headed guy that he named. He named as a suspect, and it's a shame that they can't charge him. They can't even charge him with her disappearance because
they can waterboard him.
Yeah, he flunks a polygraph, but they just don't have enough evidence. They need to find her. That's very, very sad. If I hope that the mother comes back on here, look to see what we said, and would consider coming on and giving us some insight in what's been done. If the police have really checked this guy out, and the problem with this area that she went missing in, it's full of lakes down there and in the ocean. I mean, people talk about taking people out in the Gulf and, tying something to them and dropping them off in the Gulf. I mean, there's so much stuff that can happen. And if they are throwing them in the Gulf and their body, instead of washing in, washes out, there's just so many places that somebody could hide remains. And I don't understand how they do it. But I remember it was back when I was working on the Gulf Coast, and they had a boat that went out with a guy on it, and supposedly, I don't know, it's something about he was going to testify against a bunch of people, and supposedly he was sitting in the back of the boat after a fishing trip, headed in, and when they got in, he wasn't in the boat anymore. And they said that he must have fell out. He'd been drinking, he must have fell out. Well, if somebody wants to get rid of somebody, they go out 10 or 20 miles offshore, and a lot of these fishing boats go out 80 to 100 to 120 miles offshore. And they just tie a bunch of rocks to them or tie them around an old anchor and throw the anchor in the water. And by the time they start decomposing, the fish eat them, and the only thing left is bones. And they're, at 110, 120 feet, they never find you. It's just, I've been out in the Gulf a bunch. You go out 10 or 12 miles in a little fishing boat, you don't even see nothing anymore. It's just like being, unless you had a compass, you wouldn't know which way to go in, or if you didn't have a GPS. Yeah, I apologize. I'm tired. I don't know why. I got plenty of sleep last night. I don't know why I'm yawning. So I will post that in the community tab as soon as we get off here tonight. And this kind of runs short tonight. I would have. I did try to call Tony tonight. I wanted to get Tony on here. He had some ideas on some things, but he is moving from one house to another, and
I'm so glad it's from one house to another, and not from a house to a box. I just can't imagine him moving into a box.
That's real funny. He's moving from one area of town. He's moving from one area of town to the other.
You're just too easy, baby.
Yeah, I know it. He couldn't come on tonight. So you'll have to tell him next time that you missed him. But you couldn't do it. We will see everybody Friday night.
Are we closing?
We don't have nothing else to talk about.
They want to hear a story about the camping. Don't y'all want to hear the story about camping?
What story about camping?
Oh, you need a B12 shot. You can't remember. It was a month ago. You told me you was going to tell them the story about camping.
Yeah, I hope so, Beach Bone.
With Troy and Tim.
Oh, they don't want to hear about that.
Yes, they do.
No. We did find another RV that we are buying. I'll tell you about that a little bit.
No, tell them about the camping.
What about the camping? I don't even know what I was going to tell you about.
Tim.
We just camped out, and it was like 18 degrees, and
oh my gosh,
I don't remember.
The story has gotten so bland from what it
I don't
used
remember
to be.
what
It must be his age.
Must be. I don't remember what you're talking about.
When you woke up and Troy was standing by the fire, almost in the fire.
Yeah.
Because it was what, 18 degrees?
18 degrees. That's right.
My husband decided that he could goad my little brothers into going camping with him. They were
First off, I didn't
they're
think they
10
would do
and
it.
12 years younger
I didn't
than
think
me.
they would do it first because we were camping in a hollow and it was like 18 degrees. So we built this big roaring fire. And of course, I'm telling all kinds of stories about axe murders and, you know, how people wait till you camp in the middle of the night and in the forest and then they come in and cut everybody's head off and all this kind of stuff. And we went to sleep. We were about 10 to 12 feet away from the campfire, and I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was complete stars out. Dew had set on us, and it was already getting, our camping stuff was wet, and we were laying almost on top of the fire. It was so cold, and I looked up, and my brother-in-law, the youngest one, is standing up, almost standing in the middle of the fire with a sleeping bag over his shoulders. I thought that was just funny. But the camper, what we're buying, we are buying a Tiffin motorhome. It was our dream motorhome that we should have bought the first time. But for whatever reason, we didn't do it. It's not new. No, good Lord, no. A new one, Class A, is what we're getting. A new Class A would cost $300,000. We just
they're about $450.
Well, we can't afford one. Put it that way. There's no way we can afford one. But I'm buying this for my birthday present. Next month is my birthday.
That means I don't have to worry about getting you anything.
And buying myself a birthday present.
And a Valentine's present.
And a Valentine's present. And an anniversary present. And your birthday present, too.
No,
your birthday's in April. But it's a Tiffin Phaeton. And it has
a bath and a half.
Bath and a half like we want. A king-size bed for Maggie. It has heated floors in it, and a electric fireplace, and we'll give you a tour, and everything. So we'll arrange for all that stuff to happen on.
And then when we're traveling, we can come by and y'all can meet up with us.
Yeah, we'll actually try to come by a few places that we're talking about. We're not going to do one of these boots on the ground where I'm going to go out and search for anybody, because I don't really feel like that's going to be beneficial. Now, if they have another big search for Suzanne, yeah, we may go there. I may do that. I'd love to do that.
The only thing we don't want to do is get in the way of the police.
Right. I'm very aware of what their activities are and how they're working behind the scenes. I can tell you that. I've talked recently with some FBI friends of mine, and I just know a bunch of stuff that other investigations are doing, and I just don't want to be meddling in a lot of their business. If there's something we are saying that is going to interfere, I'm not going to do it. That's just the way it is. But we'll tell you all about all this, show you some pictures and everything, and tell you what.
Just so y'all know, in 2014,
right?
Yes, in 2014, it had taken Tommy 5 years to talk me into selling our house and getting into an RV and traveling. And we did it for 2.5 years. And then we bought a 1925 house, redid it, started a business, sold the business, sold our RV, and it's going to take him till I die to get me out of another RV.
And I'm going to tell you, before, when we traveled, we didn't have a YouTube channel. We didn't have an Instagram channel. We had nothing. And
we had, listen, y'all are asking about the fur babies. Wait, you're asking about the fur babies? We had, when we traveled the last time, we still had Gracie, but we also had a blonde lab named Daisy. I forgot Daisy's name. Maggie's taken over. Daisy. And they traveled with us. They got into the RV. Daisy was about 10 years old. No, she was older than that. She was about 12 years old when we got into the RV. And they never missed a beat. They would bark at us when they needed to go out. We'd take them out. They'd come in. They'd sleep. They never barked when we were going somewhere, that the camper, we would leave them in the RV. They never barked. People didn't even know we had dogs till we let them out. And then when we were traveling down the road, they'd stand up and start looking at us like, hello, I need to go out. And we would just pull over and take them out. So the dogs will be fine. As long as they're with us, they are going to do great. And with us having a king size bed, Maggie's going to love it, because when this other one, when we would go places in the other one, she would have to get down off the bed because she's got a foot fetish. She don't want no feet on her. So every time your foot gets near her, she wants to jump off the bed.
But we, yes, and we got a cat. This will be the first time we have a cat in the RV, so that's going to be an interesting thing. And I'll just tell you right now, we didn't want to tell it soon, but I'll just tell you right now, we are going to have we do actually have a YouTube channel on the RV thing. But in the past, we have been talking about getting ready to RV full time and getting back on the road. And it doesn't have but about 260 people on it right now. And I'm not going to push it right now because we're not doing but a YouTube channel over there about twice a month right now for the last little bit, because we have been nothing really to report. In other words, we did a lot of stuff when we first started YouTube that was talking about our gear that we use and how we use it and how mistakes we made last time. But this time, what I'm hoping is that a lot of y'all will come over there and start following our other channel too, because it's more about us as a family, and it's about us as we travel and what we see and all of that kind of get stuff going. But it will be more about us personally than it will be about and us seeing what we see. You know, we plan on seeing a lot of stuff. Actually, Laurie Walleye figured it out, and she's been over there and watched a bunch. But if you watch a bunch, I'll tell you what the name of the channel is, and you can go over. But some of the videos that I made in the past are awful. They're just awful. We started out with them. We did some live chats. We did some other stuff, and they were awful. So, but I'm going to tell you what it is. Dina can put it right there. Go ahead and put the channel in, Dina. It's called 1 Million Mile Road Trip.
Okay.
And if you go over, if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. We're way far away from getting monetized over there, but we're not worried about that. It's all one word, 1 million mile road trip. We want to share our journey even out there on the road and be able to, enjoy it a little bit. And that's what I'm going to be doing, a lot of editing and stuff. Editing film, I don't mind it at all. I love doing it, but it takes a long time. To do a 15-minute video, it'd take me 12 hours to edit that film. So, because I actually tape so much.
I was going to say, can I give you a B12 shot and it help?
No.
Okay.
And so it takes so long to cut out and do things and put stuff in. So, it does take a long time because I'm kind of want to get everything just right. But if you want to come over and check some out, please, I got some on there that are they're horrible. I need to delete them. I really do. But it started out in the beginning as you'll see the first one is basically mistakes we made while we were RVing. I do have one on there that has gotten 12,000 views though. And it was when we talked about traveling armed and the different things that...
I think they liked it when I did the pump shotgun.
Maybe, I don't know. But about traveling armed. And I talk about that. And we had, honestly, 12,000 views on that one that we did.
Rowan said, stick the GoPro on Maggie.
Yeah, believe me, it'll be a lot. I've got 10 GoPros, about 10. And I plan on putting them in all kinds of places when we start traveling. Maggie, I'm planning on, and this could be a video by itself. I'm planning on getting Maggie some booties to wear in the desert, so she won't get thorns in her feet. And Gracie, but I know we're going to have a hard time with that because she doesn't like anything to touch her feet. So, but anyway, we're running here at 10 minutes till. Man, I just love you guys. I really do. And been wanting to share this information for a long time.
He has. I've kept him under wraps because we didn't know how fast things were going to happen. But several of you have said always wanted an RV, or you'd like to get an RV and start traveling. Don't wait. We're not promised tomorrow. And this land that God has given us, this country, is absolutely amazing. When we went out to Yellowstone and stayed a couple of weeks last time, and it was amazing. But when we left Yellowstone, we were going 60 miles to the Grand Tetons, and Tommy was taking us through the woods and on the trail going there, and I kept saying, are you sure we're not going the wrong way? Because we should see these mountains. And we came out of an S-curve, and y'all, those purple mountains shot up out of the sky. I still get holy bumps when I think about it, because that was just an amazing thing that God had done.
Roland, you said
where do we get
mail? There's several ways you can get mail. One is a mail service, where wherever state that you're domiciling in, you want to domicile somewhere that has no state income tax and low tag fees and stuff like that, because that can actually just burn your money up. But we were a domicile in Florida, where we declared our home base in Florida and basically had a mailbox company. Then what they would do, they would get all our mail, and they'd either put it in a box and mail it to an RV park we were staying at, or to a post office general delivery, or they would read the mail, like they would copy it and put it on a page where you could read your own mail. But most of the stuff we did was handle it online. We did as much as we could about handling everything online. You can get packages delivered at these package stores and stuff. It's not easy, but you can. Now, this next time, we're probably going to put a big box in the floor at my in-laws' place, and they're just going to throw all our mail in there, or tell if I got a package coming in, I'll send it to one of these packing mail places or a post office, or order it through Amazon or whatever.
Okay, several of you have asked about Ralph. In case you missed it when I answered, I have not talked to Denise today. She was so tired when I talked to her last night that I was supposed to meet with her for coffee today, and I just left her alone and let her sleep, hopefully, and get some rest, because this is wearing on her. And so yesterday when she got there, Ralph had decided he would use the CPAP machine, which helped him breathe. And so he was doing better with his oxygen level. He knows his name. He knows his date of birth, his address. He knows who he's married to and all those kind of things. So he's doing better. When he went to the hospital last Friday, his sugar was over 700.
He's not a diabetic.
And he's not a diabetic. So that didn't help. So, Rowan, we are going to visit Washington. We went to Washington, D.C. and went on up to Gettysburg. That was another beautiful place. Y'all, there's just so much to see.
I want to see all of America, every state, and not just drive through it. I want to visit some 1, 2, 3 places in it. I want to go to Alaska. That is my big dream, to spend a whole 2, maybe 3 months in Alaska. And while I'm going that way, I want to see a good bit of Canada. Canada is a beautiful country. It's just amazing. If you watch the program Heartland, it's a Christian type based thing about a girl and a horse and a whole family. That whole thing is just to make you fall in love with Canada and the mountains. I do want to see how people live, and you know, we want to be a service always to what we can. And there's just no, I mean, we hope that our channel over there at 1 Million Mile Road Trip will be actually something that will serve, you know, can show a lot of people a lot of things and where we go. And, you know, we will, we'll be there. And
well, tell them what we told our kids.
Yeah, go ahead. You told our kids. I didn't tell our kids.
Okay. I told our children that once we get back in the RV, that when we die, they can just run it off a cliff, because we are not going to ever own another house.
Yeah, although we, you know, who knows what time that or what will happen in our life. Maybe someday we may go to where we own a condo or something like that. But it's going to be. We actually, and I think I told this thing before. We were actually behind a Cracker Barrel one day in South Dakota. We were letting the dogs out to go, and a Prevost pulls up behind there, and a guy gets out, and he's a lot older guy. And I started talking to him. He was 93 and driving this $1.5 million Prevost, and the wife was 87. So, and they were been on the road 15 years. Do you have something to share?
Okay, y'all. I just got a message from Denise. She said, I was at the hospital all day. He doesn't believe he's going to live. He doesn't believe he's going to live through this. He is so sick, I'm not sure he wants to. He said this morning that Dwight and Brother Phillips are waiting for him, and he's ready to go where they are. He was awake all day giving me a list of what needs to be done now. So I'll be doing that tomorrow and going back to the hospital on Friday. This is such a great man. It breaks my heart. So y'all pray for him, because he's got grandchildren that he can still be a mighty influence on. So y'all pray for Ralph. Just lift him up to God. I've asked God to give him 15 more years. And he did. Oh, Ralph was in great condition up until this COVID hit him. So, I mean, he would come in our store every day. He was always cutting up. Y'all, we had a lady come into the store wanting to sell us her gun. And it was an old gun that it wasn't worth very much. And we were going to give her as much as we could. But they had a utility bill that was astronomical. And Ralph was listening to her, and he walked outside where her husband was, because her husband couldn't get out of the car. He was handicapped. And I saw Ralph reach into his wallet, and I don't know how much money he pulled out, but he handed that man what was in his wallet and told him
several $100s.
Yes, it was enough to pay the utility bill for several months, and told him that they would be bringing him some food and he would not have to worry about lights anymore. Ralph did that without anybody knowing what he was doing. And
we wouldn't have known about it except I was watching out the window, you know.
We had somebody come in wanting to sell some arrowheads. And it was a young girl. She had a big box, a shadow box full of arrowheads. And she came in and she wanted to know if I would buy them. And I told her I didn't know anything about arrowheads. And she wanted $100, and I said, well, let me call somebody to come and look at them, and he'll know, because he knows arrowheads. And she said, well, look, I'll just take $50 if that's all I can get. And I said, if you'll wait about 15 minutes, he'll be here. Ralph comes in, and he looks at him, and he says, what did you want for him? And she said, I wanted $100, but I'll take 50. And Ralph said, I'm sorry, I can't give you $100 for these. And instead, he pulled out $300. Ralph, he's been trying to outgive God. Y'all, when I tell y'all those things, those are just two of the stories that we know about. And there are hundreds. people all over our area, they know Ralph. They know that he is a godly man. And
his business gave a church missionary group a King Air airplane.
Yeah.
$500,000 airplane. Gave it to him.
And Ralph would not be there for the pictures to be taken. They wanted to
put it in the paper and all this, and Ralph said, no, I didn't give it to get notoriety for it.
So, y'all, just, if you will, just storm the gates of heaven for Ralph and just ask God to do a miraculous healing in his life. And I know that once Ralph recovers from this, that he'll be out about trying to outgive God still, and he will be giving God all the glory. I can assure you that. I know Ralph. He's an amazing man. So, and his wife is just as sweet. She's my cousin. We've been like sisters. And so it's Denise and Ralph. And if y'all don't mind, just pray for them and pray for wisdom for her, because this is tough. So we thank y'all. And I'm sorry I got so emotional about it, but we do love him.
Did you want to pray, Dana?
I don't know if I can. I will try. Father, we come to you tonight. And God, what Ralph is feeling right now, he doesn't want to live. But God, you've got so much more for him to do. Those grandkids need him, because he is such a godly grandpa. His quiver is full, God, and there is so much more that he can pour into their lives, God, that will make a difference. And they're so young. God, I had my grandparents till I was in my 20s. And these kids, the oldest one's 13. God, please let the grandkids grow up knowing that Papa was always there for them and that he loved God. God, I ask right now, as Ralph is probably sleeping, God, that you will just wrap your arms around him. God, the healing oil that was put on him, I pray that you will continue to just let that healing oil seep into him. God, cause every part of his body to line up and work the way you designed it to. God, I know Denise is hurting. And I just ask, Father, that you would wrap your arms around her and give her peace. God, prepare her heart. God, remind her that there is not an expiration date on Ralph, that they've been through so much. She almost died 10 years ago, God, but because of you, she didn't. And God, Ralph doesn't have an expiration date on him anywhere. You know his time to go. God, you said in your word in Psalms 139 that it is that all of his days that he was going to live, you knew them before yet there was a one of them. God, you know what's going on in his mind. You know what's going on in his body. And we just ask, God, to bring healing. God, we ask that you send your warring angels to encamp about him in his room tonight so that the demons of hell cannot continue to tell him to give up. God, I just ask that you just bring healing to his body. And God, let him come home to us. But God, whatever your will is, we will accept it. Knowing that ultimately, if Ralph dies, we will see him again. And so, God, just give us peace and help us to know how to pray when our hearts are breaking. And God, I know that we're not the only ones in this situation. I know that Maddie's heart is breaking over her daughter. God, I pray that her daughter will be safe and be able to come home. God, all the people that are missing people tonight, the ones that have died of COVID this past year, they're all hurting. And God, we just need you. We need revival in our country. We need you to pour out your spirit on this world. God, draw us back to you. We know that the times are wearing down. And we know it won't be long till Jesus splits that eastern sky wide open. And he calls us home. And I'm ready, God. And I know Ralph is ready. And all of us that know you already. But there are so many people, God, that don't know you. They don't have a personal relationship with you. And so, God, I ask that you knock on their hearts and draw them close to you. And God, let us have a clean heart, God, before you. Help us to remember that your word says that you will give us the desires of our heart, but our hearts have to line up with your will. And so we will delight ourselves in you, God. And delighting ourselves in you means that we will study your word. We will learn more about you. God, we don't want to get to heaven and not know anything about Jesus and about you and about the Holy Spirit. Help us to study your word and to learn. And God, we will just praise you. I praise you in advance for what you're going to do in Ralph's life. I praise you in advance for the rest that you're going to give Denise tonight. And God, I just pray for everyone that is with us in this room and praying. God, I just pray that you will multiply their rest and multiply their peace. And God, you know what's going on in each and every person behind this computer. You know what their heartbreak is. You know what their concerns are. You know what they're worried about. God, you know what delights them. And so, God, I ask that you listen to the heart cries, and God, and let us know by dreams, by visions, by a newspaper opening up to 2 Timothy 2:22 or Psalms 139, or God, whatever it is, let us know that you are hearing us, and we will praise you and we will thank you, God. No matter what, you are still God, you're still good, and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Thank you, people. We love every one of you.
I'm sorry, guys, but I know you understand. When you're hurting, it just comes out. And God hears the cry of our heart. That's what he promises.
I'm going to play this for you a little bit. Dina sent me today. And it's not but about 30 seconds long. And then I'll play the outro and we'll see you
Friday night. Okay, so I came in and look at Baggy. And she's just been sitting there like that. Like, hey, what's the big deal? Are you enjoying that? Huh? Do you enjoy sitting like that? You just watching TV and just up? Now we're going to get up. Yeah.